Okay, so when you say you believe in God, what is your source for that?
I think there was a creator.
No, you can't just say I think.
Well, I don't know. I'm a human being.
So you're
I'm not perfect. I don't have that knowledge. Otherwise, I would be the creator
Are you
myself.
certain there is God? Or you're just speculating there is God? Which one is it?
When I look around at the trees and nature and the beauty of the universe,
Yeah.
I personally can say, yeah, I'm pretty certain there is a creator.
Okay, so when you say pretty certain,
But it doesn't mean
Then
that
it
I
is
have
just-
to live 4,000 years ago.
no, you don't have to live 4,000 years ago.
That is 1,400 years ago.
Okay, tell me one thing.
My book is 4,000 years.
That's fine. Tell me one. When you say your book, you mean the Jewish book?
The Torah is 4,000 years old.
All right. So when you
How
say
can a man today live in the past 4,000 years ago?
no, you don't have to live in the past. In order, many laws that are in the statutory laws here in Britain, they were written in 1600s, but they still follow today.
Yeah, but
It doesn't mean you have to live in the 1600s.
Okay, but hang on a second. But they get changed. They get changed for the times. These books of ours, yours and mine,
Yeah.
we're not allowed to change.
Okay,
them.
I'll tell you what. This is the Quran. I'm not going to judge the Torah because that is your book, but the Quran. I don't know what part of it you have read. That is in
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, so you cannot judge a book that you haven't read, can you? So
I'm
maybe
not
the first
judging
step
it.
would
I'm just
be
telling you that it's written by a human being and it might not be perfect.
no. When you say might not be, when you haven't read it, that is just a speculation. So why don't you read it first and then you tell me what you object to?
Okay, so
Would that be a good idea?
Yeah, very good idea.
All right.
So
Here's a
let me-
copy for you.
Thank you very much, and
You're
I'll
welcome.
keep it and I will try and read it. But let me
Sure.
ask you a question.
Yeah, go on.
In my Torah, they talk about stoning people to death if they do certain things.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that.
Okay, I'll tell
You
you
have
what.
a legal system
You know what
that
you-
matches today, not
Okay, I'll
4,000
tell you
years
what.
ago.
Do you know what they do today? Have you heard of abortion and how they actually go through that process of aborting babies? Do you know how they do it? It's worse than stoning, I tell you. They rip open these babies piece by piece and until they die. And that is today in the 21st century.
Where's that?
Everywhere, legalized abortion.
That's bullshit.
You
Why
haven't,
would they do that?
You haven't heard of abortion, seriously?
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know it from that point of view.
Well, maybe that's the reason I'm telling you that there are many things which are legalized today which wasn't legal 4,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago or 1,400 years ago. But today it's considered to be nice and accepted.
So do you think that
and
should be
acknowledged.
changed? Do you think
Of course it should be.
So then why should certain things in this book not be changed?
Because this book, there's a difference. I'll tell you what.
This is the law.
No.
This is the law.
Hold on, no. When you
That's
say
the law. They can change that law, but they can't change
no,
this law. Why?
there's difference. One is law of man, the other is law of God.
You see, that's where I've got a problem.
Why?
Because this was written by a man.
No. When you say written,
Or
of course it was written.
prophesied by a man.
No, of course it was written by man. But who revealed it to man?
Well, I don't know. You know
The
what?
law- you know
I
the
can,
law-
I can get a. I can.
You know the 10 Commandments of Moses? Do you think Moses just wrote them by himself in the book? It was given to him by God. And that's the reason. And if you read the 10 Commandments,
I don't know.
look,
That's
if
my
you
point.
read
I
the
don't
10
know.
Commandments, they're more or less universal, except for a few things like the
so
Sabbath.
you and
so
I
on.
can sit down tomorrow and we could write 10 good commandments.
Oh, you can. I'm not saying no.
Yeah, so
in
that,
fact,
but
I'll tell you
but
what.
that's maybe what Moses did.
God doesn't object to you doing good things. Even,
no,
even
but
if
what
it
I'm
is
saying
not
is-
in the Quran or not in the Torah, if it is a good thing, for example, but then the good thing is subjective, isn't it? What might be good for you might be bad for someone else. What might be bad for someone else might be good for you.
Okay, that's a very good point.
Okay, now the point is
That is a very good point.
The
But
more important
as long
point.
as I don't hurt you and you don't hurt me,
No.
You can do what you want and I can do what I want.
Hold on. That is not easy in practice. It's easier to say.
no, but if you
not
want to
in
be a
practice.
godly man or a man of the Creator, that's what we should be practicing.
No, but the first thing you need to define is who actually justifies what is good and what is bad.
You and I can sit down and do that.
No, but we might disagree.
and if okay, well,
Like
then
for example, you might consider abortion correct, all right, and to be practiced,
But that-
and I might consider it to be completely wrong.
okay, but I'm not allowed to kill you for that.
Oh, wait a minute, you're already
not allowed
killing
to-
a baby for that.
Listen, if you take
Someone's getting hurt, but then it's perfectly legal and all right in the community, in the society, in the 21st century. You want to bring us in the from 4,000 years.
Excuse me.
From 4,000 years, you want to bring us to the 21st century, but then the 21st century, I see a lot of barbaric practices which are legal today. To me,
But it
those
doesn't
they
make
are
them
barbaric.
right.
Well, according to the law, it is right. That's why it's legal.
Well, it doesn't necessarily make them right. That's what I'm saying to you. What's in here and what's in my book
that is-
doesn't necessarily mean it's right. And we have to be open-minded and we have to move forward and work out like, okay, well, that's what he said that time. I don't know if it applies today. Like, really?
By the way, they did sit down and
Does it
become.
really?
Hold on, they did sit down, and that is how they got the law for aborting babies. It
Maybe-
wasn't the law before; it
Listen-
became a law today.
Listen, I'm not saying
I
that's
mean,
right.
recently.
I'm not saying it's right. Maybe they need to re-sit down and again change the law. Like you should maybe change this law or change my law.
The point I'm asking you is this: who decides what is justified as good and what is bad?
What works for me and what works for you.
No. Good and bad are subjective.
We negotiate it.
No, good and bad are subjective.
Yes, but
what do you mean negotiate? Not everyone is going to agree with you. And
You
it's
never-
not.
you're never
And
gonna
by the
get
way, it's
everyone-
not just the two of us. We are talking about an entire world. We are talking about an entire societies, entire communities. There are
absolutely.
things which
but
might
it doesn't
be.
mean you just because we can't agree on something,
There
you
are-
take this as the gospel.
There are certain things in South Africa which might be applicable in South Africa, but they might not be
not be
accepted
appli-
elsewhere.
Uh-huh.
Yes, like for a few years ago,
So-
apartheid was completely legal there. Yes,
Yes.
and
but-
later on,
okay,
it became
so-
illegal in
so
the same
remember-
country.
Now, I'm not
In the same
historian.
country.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm telling you, who decides what is legal and what is
The
not?
people did in South Africa.
Yeah, but
I'm a
the-
South African. I
Yeah.
was born there.
Yeah, I know that.
So
I
in
can
other
tell from
words,
your accent.
I've witnessed
Right.
people that were on two opposite sides of the planet sit down and work it out. And look what
You know what happened?
Look what happened.
You know what happened? A lot
Peace.
of people died in that process. It didn't just go from
No,
apartheid to peace. I'm
Listen,
sorry.
listen.
You
That-
completely ignored all the bits in the middle.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that after apartheid, people worked it out.
No, the people, they were basically forced.
But
They
they
were
worked it
forced
out.
into
They-
rejecting it.
They both wanted to work it out, and then they worked it out.
I don't think
I was there in December.
I don't think the black people had a lot of say in that.
Now, after
I'm not
Mandela,
talking about now. I'm talking about back then.
No, that was bad.
But it was legal back then. Apartheid was legal, and everyone in your
so
community
this is legal.
accepted it.
This is legal.
Yeah, but tell me, what's your objection? I'm asking you, what's your objection
Do
to that?
they stone people in here?
Who in the Quran?
If you do a certain crime, can you get stoned?
Okay,
In
the-
my book, you can.
Okay.
And it's bullshit.
First thing you
You
need
should not be stoned to death.
First thing you need to realize is that the death penalty, whether it is stoning to death, or whether it is the electric chair, or whether it is hanging by the noose, or whether it is shooting in by guns, these are all death penalties. And different wait.
And they need to be negotiated.
Hold on. Different countries have different rules and regulations. For example, in America, if you
The most civilized country in the world
if you,
today, they call it.
if you commit treason,
But they-
you get the electric
electric.
chair. Now, who's
Yeah.
going to tell them?
Exactly.
Basically, killing someone in a practice where they basically pump, I don't know how many thousands of megawatts into that person's
Yeah.
body until he fries to death,
Yes.
or his brain fried to
Yes.
death.
Is that right?
Yes. Well, it looks very horrendous to me.
Okay, so what if they changed it?
No. When you say changed it, you see what I'm saying?
What if they said, you know what?
You need to come to a term. You either come to a term where you completely stop death penalties, like in Britain. I think there isn't any death penalty anymore here. Where I think it's only
Yeah, in Australia, there's no death
yeah,
penalty.
it's only like life sentence, and even that life sentence can vary from like 15 to 20 years, and then they can still get out even earlier. Yes, and those people who have been given the life sentence, they go and recommit those crimes again. Where does it stop? How do you stop these crimes, which are repeat crimes? For example,
Okay,
pedophilia,
okay.
murders,
Okay,
yes,
let me
drug addiction, all these
Let
things.
me answer your
are-
question.
there are lots of repeat
There's
offenders.
certain times though, that a crime fits a punishment, and then there's certain times that a crime doesn't fit a punishment. It doesn't mean that it fits at this time. It must be for everything.
And who decides that?
You and me, as two people in the 21st century.
You think you and me are the only people in the 21st century?
no, okay, so let's
You're talking about millions.
Okay,
You're
so
talking about
let's-
7 billion
let's-
people out there.
let's
Do you
dis-
think they'll all come to an
Let's
agreement?
discuss what's going to go in this bottle: water or orange juice.
No, but
You say water. I
but
say
you're
orange
asking
juice.
me and you only. I'm talking about 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world today.
Yeah, we
Do you
have-
think they will all come to an agreement like you and me?
I think you know.
I
what
don't think so.
Well, I can tell you this: as we get to, I don't want to say anyone's wrong and I'm right.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking like me,
What do you mean like
as
you?
as we get further down,
What do you mean like you?
like
Are you saying you're the pinnacle
you
of
know
justice
everything.
in this
No,
world?
no. That's not true.
No.
What I'm saying to you, when you
Yeah.
start thinking that I can love you and you and you, and that this book doesn't have to be the ultimate decisive.
So what is your standard of morality, for example? What is your standard, if not the book? What is your standard for morality?
What is morality?
You don't know what's morality?
No.
It's basically like human beings, like for example, not to lie, not to,
Code of practice.
yeah,
Code of practice.
Yeah.
Not to lie, not to cheat, not to hurt
not
somebody
to hurt
else.
someone else. Yeah.
Not
Who
to-
decides these moral laws? If not the books,
You and
who
me.
decide? But I'm
If
telling
I-
you,
if
we
I-
both
if
are
I do this
subjective.
and I take your glasses,
Yes.
right? That's morally wrong.
It
so
is.
You say to me, hang on, bring my glasses. Oh, okay, I won't take your
Okay.
glasses. There
So
you go.
so you decided.
We
it's-
both decided.
Hold on. You decided it's morally wrong. Another person comes along and says it's perfectly all right. Hashim told me something I didn't like, so it's perfectly legitimate for me to steal his glasses.
No. No,
Is
we
he right?
know. No, he's wrong.
You see what I mean? He used his justification.
No,
you use yours.
No.
And we're only talking about 3 people here. What about millions?
Millions of
What
people.
about billions? You see, this is what I'm telling you. It's very easier said than
Laws
done.
have to be changed. I agree with you. Oh, mate, listen, I understand. You can't get 3 people to agree, let alone 100.
Do you really think all this 21st century, really advanced countries like America and all, going all the way to Iraq and bombing them to basically dark ages just because somebody told them there's weapons of mass destruction there? Do you think that's
No,
right?
that's
Okay,
bullshit.
now you tell me who's going to bring those people who did a wrong, who were responsible for killing millions, yes, and thousands, who's going to bring them to justice?
The legal system.
It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't. Hang on. It's not working. It's not.
Whose legal system?
We have to work out a system that does work. That's my
My
point.
friend,
but if we
whose
stuck
legal
in the
system?
old way, we're never going to work it
No,
out.
but hold on. Whose
even admit it.
legal system
I
are you
don't
talking
disagree
about?
with you. I don't disagree. But what I'm saying is we have to move forward. We can't be stuck back in those days.
Yeah, but you see, it's very easier said than done. If
I
you do-
agree, it's
trust
not
me,
easy, it's
if
not
it,
easy.
If it was that easy, then those people who completely annihilated 2 cities in World War II, yes, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, yes, they dropped, the first country to drop atomic bombs, nuclear bomb, basically are Americans. And they are the most advanced country today. They are the superpower today. You tell me which country in the world is going to stop them?
No one can stop them, yeah.
Well, everybody now, Russia.
Well, they haven't.
China.
But the thing is,
Exactly. Everybody now.
Russia and China are the biggest partners in trade.
No, but everybody.
How are they going to stop them?
So everybody's not trying not to use nuclear weapons.
Look,
the
what-
law has changed.
What's your name?
Shaun?
Okay, Shaun. You know there are many things that you say I like, but when it comes to practicality, they are not practical.
They are.
I'll tell you why.
They are, but you're close to them.
No, because morality, the laws that you talk about, the different laws in the world that we have today, they are very subjective. If you do not have some authority dictating these laws, you'll always be fighting with each
I
other.
agree with you.
Because everyone is going to say follow my law,
What's your
and you
name?
say follow Hashim.
Hashim, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
But those laws need to change.
Which laws?
Say there's a law that you're not allowed to do something, right? Today.
Yeah.
But in 5 years' time, it becomes irrelevant. In 5 years' time, that's not the case.
No, we are
anymore.
talking about the laws which are there, which affect everyone, which affect all communities. Let's take example, okay? In Saudi Arabia, alcohol is banned. In this country, it's permitted. Whom are you going to basically cite?
Whatever you want.
No, you tell me based on your understanding of these 2 countries.
I like
who
it.
do you think is right?
Neither are right and neither are wrong.
No, that's not an answer. That's a
Why?
that's a cop out.
Why?
Because you're legislating. Remember, a legislator cannot just say I don't care.
Why can't I go home and
Because-
have a whiskey
No,
and
no.
the guy in Saudi Arabia doesn't have a whiskey? He doesn't want a
No,
whiskey.
the law
I
is.
want a whiskey, he doesn't. What's the problem?
I'll tell you what. The Saudi Arabians, they say no. It's going to be stopped for everyone. In Britain, it says everyone over the age of 18 is permitted to have whatever alcohol. Okay, there might be some limit, I'm sure,
Okay, sure,
but it's not something that is enforced. Now wait a minute. The Saudis have a legitimate reason. They go by the book. In Britain, they do not go by, for example, a religious book. They have a law where it says a secular law.
Every year
How-
they change it.
Yeah. However,
Why do they change it?
no, let's not go into that. Based on the secular law, listen. Based on the secular
Because
law,
times change.
no. Based on the secular law, what has changed?
Not all the time.
No, not all the time.
One second.
Not all the time.
What has
But
changed in
times
terms of
change.
alcohol? You tell me.
We're not the same as we were 1400 years ago.
We're more immoral if that's
When
what
it's
you're trying to
dragging.
say.
When
I think we
I'm getting.
compared from
depends what-
100 years ago, we are
Okay,
more
well, maybe,
immoral.
maybe you're
The
right.
society-
Maybe
society-
you're
Let
right.
me ask.
Especially
Let
with
me ask
social
you.
media.
What has changed in terms of alcohol and its effects? Say 4,000 years from today. What has changed?
Probably nothing.
Exactly. Has the law changed?
Yes.
There have been law
Yes.
changes.
So
yeah.
before, alcohol might be permitted for everyone.
Yeah, now
Later
it's
on, the children cannot drink. Later on,
driving, yeah.
even those who have reached the age of adolescence, they cannot drink. Later on, it became until the age of 18. And now maybe they want to move it as well. Now they want to close pubs at a certain time. Some other countries want to keep the pubs open all night. Yes. Some countries want to sell drugs over the counter. Some countries like Britain completely ban drugs. Not even cannabis is allowed. So that's what I'm telling you. All these countries have different laws. However, they all recognize the reason they have laws restricting these things like alcohol and drugs and any other things basically that is harmful to your body, and is only more of it's more of a pleasure for you rather than giving you any benefit. Because it does harm to your body. Yes. Now you tell me, would you knowingly give poison to your children?
No.
Right? So why would you allow a country Why would you allow a country to sell poison and get benefit in terms of revenue from
Because
it?
it's not poison that will kill them.
It does.
You see, there's a difference between
No, hang on a second.
Even
I
nationals.
drink whiskey.
no. There's a difference between
every-
slow poison and poison which kills you
No, there's
instantly.
nothing wrong with having a whiskey. I drink it on a Friday night. I have 2 whiskeys and that's it.
Has your doctor advised you to drink whiskey?
He's never warned
If you
me against it.
if
He's
you
never
were-
warned me.
Have you asked him?
Yeah.
So you asked him.
In actual fact, there's a belief that if you have a drink a night, it's actually very good for you because it relaxes you.
It's good for what?
Listen, apparently, no, I'm not saying this is the truth.
No, it's good for what?
De-stresses you, relaxes you, makes you maybe feel comfortable.
And how do you think it impacts your liver?
Well, then you mustn't eat McDonald's.
Actually, I don't.
Okay, but I'm
I
just
hate
saying.
McDonald's.
I'm just saying. But here's the thing: I'm allowed to drink until I'm absolutely blasted. Okay, that's my business. As long as I don't make you drink and I don't
No.
force you
You're,
to
you're
drink,
missing the point completely.
you should be
You know-
happy for me and I'm happy
Hold
for
on.
you.
Do you know why you're missing the point?
Why?
Because you see, every alcoholic at one point, he said the same thing like you. Look, I can control the drink. I'm a responsible drinker. And I'm only harming, even if I drink more, yes, I'm only harming myself. And that person, after he became an alcoholic, yes, he destroyed his family. He might have killed someone in a car accident. He might have basically ruined his own career. You see the impact of alcohol? Now you see why that book told you not to drink? And why Saudi Arabia has followed that rule not to drink
But hang on a
alcohol
second.
completely?
It's Hashim, eh?
Yes.
Hashim.
Yeah.
Hashim.
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 Yeah.
I understand exactly what you're saying. My father was an alcoholic, he died. My sister was an alcoholic, and my brother's an alcoholic. I know what you're saying, believe me. But I'm not an
Of
alcoholic.
all the people, you should be saying to stop drinking.
No, but I'm not an alcoholic.
If my dad died because of alcohol, or someone in my family died because of alcohol,
But just-
I'll be the first one propagating against it.
But here's the point, I'm not an alcoholic.
Now, I'm not saying you are.
No, but what I'm saying
I'm
is
saying
not-
you have first-hand witness.
Just because
the
some
effects.
people are sick because it's a disease,
No, I'm saying you have first-hand
you
witness
can't
the
make
impact of alcohol.
you can't make everybody not have a drink because my family were alcoholics.
You see what you're doing is
what he's trying to say.
What
is
you're
what it leads up to.
yeah. What you're
It's-
saying.
it's the-
What you're saying is you're looking at it.
I
You're
understand.
looking at it
But
basically.
you can't inflict what you believe because I can't say to my brother, don't drink.
Why not?
Well, I can
Why
say
not?
to him, I can say, but I can't stop him.
If your brother is doing something wrong, would you not stop him?
I will try.
Exactly. He's your brother.
I will
Would you
try.
not? Would you not wish good for him?
I will try, but because he's
So what is wrong with a government who wants good for his citizens not to drink? If you want your brother to be saved from the harms of alcohol, why would a government not want the same thing if it loves its citizens?
Yeah.
The only government which would permit it would be the one that does not really care for the citizens, that cares for basically lining his pockets.
pockets.
For business, yeah.
But I 100% agree with you.
There you
It's
go.
all it's all money.
So it comes
But-
down to the
but that-
book which says not to drink for a reason.
But why can't I drink?
Like I just told you, the effects of it. You are the first-hand witness what happened to your to your dad and to your sisters.
But it
Yes?
doesn't happen to me. So you,
That doesn't mean you know. Trust me, I bet your dad said the same thing at one point.
No, I'm sorry. You can't inflict a certain law on everybody because it doesn't always apply to
Actually,
them.
it's not inflicting; it's saving them from harm.
Well, it depends. You might see it that way. I don't.
If somebody told you that there is a law not to cross the traffic light if it's red, and that is a law, if you cross it, you're going to die.
Definitely not.
Why? That is a law. They're inflicting it on everyone for the same reason, to save you from death.
No.
The only difference here.
Again, you're taking it to
no,
an
no,
extreme. I crossed many red lights. I've never died. Thank God I haven't been hit.
Well, you basically broke the law then. Don't admit it on camera though.
But you get my point. You
No, but
cannot,
did you understand what I said?
Yes, I do.
Okay, the laws are there for a reason. The laws are there to prevent you from accidents, to prevent you from dying. If those laws were not in place and you kept breaking those
Then it's
laws,
my problem,
No,
not
it's
your
not yours.
problem.
If you broke the law, you can kill someone else. What do you mean is your
No,
problem?
if I walk across the road.
No. If you went through the red light, which you said you did, and you
No,
killed.
I said I've walked across the red light.
No. Okay, you mean as
Like I'm walking-
jaywalking?
jaywalking.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought while you're driving.
Yeah, that's my fault. It's my problem.
Yeah, but what if you were driving and you broke the traffic
No,
light?
you can't.
But it's possible. Many people do break the law,
Yeah, but you can't.
and they're perfectly safe.
So, okay.
Wait.
No, hang on a second. You know what you're saying?
What am I
Nobody
saying?
must be allowed to drive.
No, I'm not saying that.
You are.
I'm saying the laws are there for a reason.
But people are going to break those laws. Therefore, no.
If they break the
No,
law, then
no.
they should be arrested.
Nobody's allowed
That
to
is
drive.
the whole idea of the law.
Nobody's allowed to drive because some people
Okay, hear me
are
out.
going to go through a red light.
Hear me-
That's what you're saying.
Hear me out. If a person who has a license and who basically says, I'm not going to obey the traffic laws, even though the laws are there, Yes, because I'm perfectly capable of driving through a red light without harming anyone. Would you allow him? Just like you're saying, you're perfectly okay without harming anyone. You can drink alcohol. He uses the same reasoning to break the law.
No, you can't. So what I'm saying is we don't want to live in a lawless society.
Exactly my point.
But the laws must change.
But you see, the
These
laws
must change.
No, before you get to that,
my book must change.
the laws has to be dictated by someone in a society. Who does that?
The government.
Yeah, and who?
The people in authority.
And you see,
But that law's allowed to change.
But do you think the government always basically has laws which everyone agrees with? And which is actually,
not
which is always in the what do you say, in the interest of the people.
Not always.
So why do you trust the government then?
I hear exactly what you're saying, but you're being.
I'm using your argument actually.
no,
Don't realize
no,
that.
no,
I'm using your arguments against you.
No, you're not.
Yes, I
you are.
am.
Yeah, you're doing a very good job. But what you're missing is that there's been thousands of laws that keep us safe, and then they change.
I have no problems with laws keeping us safe.
Hang on, let me
and I
ask you this
include
question.
those, including keeping you safe from harm to your body, which includes drugs, alcohol, and any other narcotics.
You know what? At the end of the day, if you drink and you see you have a drinking problem, you need to stop.
Hey, you're doing it again.
But you
you're
can't
looking
tell
at
me-
it.
you can't tell me
hold
not to
on.
have a drink
You're
once
looking
a
at it
week.
as an individual level. I'm looking at it as the level of the whole society.
But you can't inflict the whole
He's
thing.
making a look. If I may, he's making a valid point because even Allah says, "I will not help you change if you don't change from yourself, from inside. It has to be an internal thing for it to be an external thing."
I can't stop my
You
brother.
see one thing-
Even if alcohol was banned,
Yeah.
you'd still drink.
Who is children?
My brother.
Because it'll be
Alcohol.
even more of a temptation.
Because
Or
he's,
he will smoke drugs.
Do you know why?
Because he's that kind of person.
Do you know why he's become like that? Because it is the government which allowed it in the first place.
You can't blame
Who helped his
everything.
addiction? You tell me. Who helped him? Do you really think he would be in such a state if he was in Saudi Arabia? Do you think he would be? If the government does not promote alcohol,
So let me
does not
explain to you.
does not legalize it,
Let me
does
explain.
not get
I
revenue
don't
from
want to
it.
talk about my family on camera here, but let me explain this to you.
Go on.
It's okay, you can run it. Maybe he wouldn't have been, if he was living in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
maybe he wouldn't have been an alcoholic, maybe he would have been depressed, maybe, you know.
That's why.
You don't know what's going to happen.
People-
Are you
people
saying
not all well,
Are you
so
saying
you can't
hold
blame,
on, hold on.
you
Are you
can't
saying
blame
that your
blanket
depression
with-
cannot be cured except by alcohol? Seriously?
No, what I'm saying is,
Because that's what it sounds like. to
no,
me.
depression
Yeah.
is a very big cause
It's serious.
of
I
alcoholism.
agree. It's serious, but
Okay.
it's not. I don't
So
think
if
it
you-
is. I don't think
so
it's
he
linked to
might have-
alcohol.
So he might have done something else.
No, I'm not saying depression is linked to alcohol.
No, I'm also- I'm
Alright?
saying-
it might have
That's
as a side effect,
It's
but
an
I'm not
escape.
saying
It's
because
an escape.
yes, an escape, but
So,
a bad one.
You can't make that rule apply to everybody because my
But you
brother
see,
has a problem.
instead of looking for a solution to depression, you're basically harming your body more. Not only depression is more of a mental issue, but then you're also causing harm to your liver now. So now you got a problem up here, and you got another problem. You're creating another problem down here. Instead of you trying to find a solution for up here,
but
why
you got-
create
you-
another problem?
Okay, so-
all you have to do is shift it from one place to another.
So 20 million.
And that is only temporary.
20
The
million.
alcohol runs out what in 24 hours? I'm not a drinker, so I wouldn't know.
So how many people live in London?
Millions.
It's about 10, yeah?
Okay, so
more
10
than
million.
that, more than
that.
So let's say there's 500,000 people that have a drinking problem.
Say again?
Let's assume there's 500,000 people that have a drinking problem in London. Does that mean now the government must make a blanket ban against alcohol?
No, I'm not saying blanket ban overnight. I'm saying just like
Take a process, yes.
just
Yes, educate, etc. But you can't
yeah,
necessarily
but
stop.
do you really
everybody.
think there's no education the effects of alcohol? There's loads of in the age of information, saying that I'm ignorant about the impact of alcohol would not be really true. You know what I mean? Because this is something that everyone should know or know already.
Alcohol is like the
We can
worst
stand and
worse
debate
than, like,
individual things. All I'm
any-
saying is
It's not
this.
individual. This is
All I'm
something
saying-
impacting all our
My
society.
point of view, in my
really
opinion,
bad.
is
But it's just they're making too much money.
things have to change.
Multi-billion.
Give me one thing that has to
trillion
change in
pound
the Quran.
empire.
I haven't never read the Quran,
Maybe
but
you
but I can tell you now, laws are made and have been made. The road. I don't know how many years ago, 400 or 500
Okay.
years ago, there was only one law, the Roman law.
All right.
It changed.
Other than
It changed.
the stoning law in the Torah, what other law would you want to change?
That gay people that gay people must be killed.
Gay people must be killed.
Yeah.
Is that in the Torah?
Yeah.
All right. And
I don't believe that.
what about people who commit incest?
I don't believe they should be killed.
Should they be allowed? Should they be legalized?
No.
Why not? Two adults consenting. They might use contraception. They're not harming anyone. Why do you think it should not be allowed? According to your
It should be.
principles.
Listen, I don't think it's a good idea.
No. Based on your principles, I'm not saying about you personally. Sorry.
No.
When I say based on your principle, why should it not be allowed?
I would love everyone to be happily married, but the truth is they're not going to be happily married.
No, it's not about marriage.
And then a woman goes and has an affair because she's not happy in a
You
relationship.
missed the point.
cannot kill her.
I'm
You
not
cannot
saying
kill
have
her.
incest because of marriage. I'm saying have incest because of pleasure. Just like the gay people have pleasure from each other. Why can't people like a mother and son or a mother and
Maybe they choose
mother and daughter have?
Maybe they choose not to.
No, but if they wanted to, why should it not be legalized? Based on your principles.
There's a glitch in the system.
No.
I think mental issue,
When that
yeah.
happens, glitch is there.
No,
It's happening.
people.
No, it's not falling in love, my friend. Don't confuse falling in love with infatuation. Two different things, my friend.
Listen, people are happily married.
Yeah.
Good for them. People do have affairs. You can't kill that woman because she had an affair.
Come on.
about marriage. We're talking about just a one-time thing.
And then,
Yeah,
well, listen, that's again an individual thing.
The knowledge of
Just
Allah.
grab it.
Look, you know, based on your principle, they should be given the right to do that, right? Based on your principle, that you said as long as they don't harm anyone, as long as they are adult, then they should perfectly be okay to do whatever they feel like. So you're okay. You're okay with a mother sleeping with her son.
With her son.
Why that look on your face?
Where are you going now with
I'm
this?
telling you, based on your principle, it has lots of flaws. Have you not realized?
They're
that?
not harming anyone.
Your law, which
Listen,
you
to
propose.
me, it's absurd. Absolutely absurd.
I think
And
it's
you-
more than upset.
It's more than absurd,
Yes.
and you would need to be totally mentally off this planet to do that.
Well, I think the Romans used to do that.
Nah, well, I don't know about that. I think human beings don't do that. Human
they
beings
used to
don't
do that. And actually, the Egyptians as well. I think they used to do that.
Nah, come on. Well, maybe you're right. I
Well,
don't know.
maybe you should know. Tutankhamun.
No, I'm not interested.
We read from the
I'm
history
in-
channels
what I said
that
to you, I'm
Tutankhamun
not
was
interested.
actually.
I'm interested in today and moving
No,
forward.
I'm talking about today. Based on your principle, they should be doing that today.
No,
because they're not harming
that's
anyone.
Not normal. That's not.
Of course, it's not normal. Many people
So
think
then
being
there's-
gay is not normal, but do you think it's okay now?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a gay son.
Trust me, 100 years from today, if I ask one of your forefathers, they'll say it's 100% wrong.
You know,
Just like the way you're saying it's 100% right today, and you know what? Maybe 100 years from today, maybe 100 years from today, just like you're saying doing incest is 100% wrong, 100 years from today, one of your children might say it's 100% okay. Like the way you said about gay people.
No, but I don't believe it will be natural.
Neither is being gay.
That's where you're wrong.
Why?
Because you're born that way.
Born? So is there a gay gene somewhere? Seriously?
I
think,
I still have to find a scientist who can discover that.
Why is there
A
no
gay
incest-
gene.
incest gene? Why is there no incest?
But anyway, look, I'm talking about the principle. I'm not talking about.
Maybe there are in certain people.
But you said it's not. Definitely, it's not natural.
It's not natural. We're not created that way.
So if you told me maybe there is, at the same time you are saying.
Why don't you find me a gay gene and then we talk?
How can
Oh,
you relate
I'm
this?
not a geneticist, but are you?
Neither am I.
If you're standing here preaching about genetics, about how it's not, how it can't, it is a choice. I think
If someone-
what it is evidence to back it up. I'm not going to say anything, so I'm not. A geneticist.
So wait a minute. He's the one who said that they're born that way. So the onus. Wait a minute. The onus is on the one who claims.
Sorry,
Not me. The onus of evidence is on the one who makes a claim.
Yes.
The claim that you made is that they were born that way.
Correct.
I'm asking you, where is the evidence for that? And that's the reason I asked for the gay gene.
Okay, yeah. So
Are you with
here's-
me?
So here's the bottom line.
Right.
I have a gay son. He was born that way. He did not change.
What do you mean born that way? Are you saying from the day one he started them with dolls? Or being? How did you find? When did you find that he was
but you're
gay?
just ignoring the actual
When
evidence.
he
that
told
is
me.
there.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So if he was born gay, then you would have known from the beginning. But he had to tell you.
Sorry, you're looking for
You
an
see what I
easy
mean?
answer to a complex
He had to
question.
tell you that he was gay.
Right.
If he was born,
The complex answer
how did you
is
know?
there
On
are
what
many
basis?
genes
I know
that make
exactly
up.
what's going on.
Okay, at what age did you
person
find out he was
okay?
gay?
Do you understand genetics?
How old was he?
It's not just one
Probably
gene
about
that
8
makes
when
up
I could
gay,
see.
not gay.
About what
Okay?
age?
It's the
At
mind,
8.
okay?
And
You
what
can't-
is it that he
you
did
can't
that
put
made
it down
you think
to
that he
one
was gay?
thing. It's a complex
see.
answer. And it
Give me
takes
an
many
example so I can
people
understand.
and thousands and
There's
thousands,
no
millions of
example.
pounds.
So you don't know how to recognize a
Well,
gay
we
person
have these evidence
at the age of 8.
but you want to
I do.
dismiss it
But
because
it's
of your
not
own
to say that they
political
were doing something
ideology.
Tell me
different.
then.
instinctively.
Okay,
What is it? You know when you say instinctively,
if you want
you
to
have
pin it on
see
people
something
saying
in order
it's
to
a
identify.
choice to be gay.
Like for example, the way he walked,
If you
the
want
way
to
he
pin it on them
reacted, the way he
because of
talked.
your
Which
religious
part was it?
views,
Maybe all.
then that's
Give
your
me
opinion.
something more
Not that.
specific.
Okay, let's,
this
for the
is-
sake of the argument, let's say the way he,
Yeah.
the way he talked.
I just don't think it's right to kind of dismiss the actual evidence and say,
Okay, anyway,
the easy
look,
answer.
I'm not-
There's no evidence.
You know, we are not here.
When he was this big.
We are not here to talk about the gay people or anyone. I'm talking about the principle. We were talking about the principle of two adults who basically have the right to do what they want as long as they don't hurt anyone. And that's the reason I asked you about incest. What is your view about incest?
I wouldn't do it.
I'm not saying you personally, I'm asking your view about incest.
I think it's pretty wrong because it's bad.
Why is it wrong?
Right, not wrong.
Oh, you're saying it's not wrong? Make up your mind, is it wrong or not?
I'm saying it's bad for
Some people maybe are born this way. I don't know.
Let's say they use contraception. Then,
What if they tell you they are born?
You know what? I wouldn't like it.
I'm not asking you personally, my friend.
makes me cringe.
I'm asking you as a principle in a society to be legalized. Would you agree for a mother and son or a mother and daughter sleeping with each other? As long as they are adults, they both are consenting and they both are over 18 and they both use contraception. There's no what do you say plan to procreate. Then would that be wrong in the society?
I don't know.
No, you tell me. Think about it and tell me.
I haven't thought about that actually because I always thought it about
I'll give you a few minutes to think about it while I talk to you.
Yeah, because
You see, one thing is that the reason you hesitate to say that it is it is okay and it should be legalized. You see, your fitra, your inner what do you say? Your inner judge.
says it's wrong.
This person
It says
says
it's
it's wrong,
wrong.
and this inner voice of yours is the voice of reason.
yes, the voice of reason says it's wrong.
Yes,
but I
you
think
know,
it's wrong.
trust me. 100 years from today, if I
Then
ask you
you'll
about the
say
gay
it's
people,
right, yeah.
wait, 100 years from today, if I ask you about the gay people, you would be saying the same thing. You know why? Because the society hasn't indoctrinated you into believing that it's okay to be gay. Once the society does that to you, in 100 years from today, your children, like I told him, will be telling you it's perfectly okay to be committing incest with your mom or with your dad. It's not a ridiculous argument. You're being indoctrinated by the society. Have you not realized that?
I think what you're doing is equating being gay.
You might not admit it.
I'm indoctrinated by being a father.
Sean, you might not admit it.
I'm a father.
You might not realize it, but trust me, you are having an impact from the society.
I understand what you're saying with the indoctrinated society, but I think
You agree with my view?
Yeah, I do. But I think equating being gay and incest.
Maybe not today. Maybe in 100 years time.
Maybe
even less.
But I think equating.
By the way, you know some European
I think
countries are already
equating-
pushing
No,
for
he's
it.
asking me.
I don't think so.
Some European, go and check it out. I should read on it. There are certain European countries, I don't know exactly who, the Denmark,
I think
Holland, or the
equating
one.
being gay
I don't know exactly, so don't
and
quote me on it.
incest.
But they are actually pushing for a law for allowing and permitting incest. And even further than that, they want to go ahead and legalize bestiality.
And do you think
As soon as I'm born now,
Alright, bestiality is different because animals cannot consent. You can't equate that. You
But
can't
they want to
equate-
legalize it.
No. You can't equate bestiality.
You know what? You know how they justify
Animals
it?
cannot
They say,
consent.
look, the animal is not basically having any reaction.
Yeah.
They are not
You can say-
crying or they're not trying to get away from me.
You can say
In
that
fact-
about humans, right?
But that's
You can say
what I'm saying.
but that's right,
These people
still
tried
right,
by any means to justify
Okay,
it.
do you think this is wrong?
I think it's wrong, yeah.
You think it's wrong, so being gay and incest? Okay.
And bestiality.
Oh, bestiality. Oh, yeah. Well, you might agree on that. But I mean, maybe, yeah, of course.
That's what I'm
maybe
saying.
it's
Look,
yeah.
trust me. If the society indoctrinated you that sleeping with animals is okay, yes, many people would do it. Because not only is being promoted, it's been legalized, but it's something that is openly practiced in the society.
Okay, since we're talking about indoctrination, how about let's talk about why you think being gay is wrong? Maybe you're being indoctrinated by your religion or your own upbringing?
No, because you see when you say indoctrinate, yeah, it's possible. You're right.
Religion is indoctrination,
But to me,
by definition.
But to me, what the religious law is it doesn't only apply to the gay people. In Islam, even fornicating with for heterosexuals is wrong. So basically, sex outside marriage that is equally wrong as the gay people. Because in Islam or in Judaism or in Christianity, yes, the orthodox belief is this: that if you are legally married, then you may have sex with each other. You can have children with each other. But if you're not married, even if you're heterosexual, yes, a man and a woman, if they marry, it's the same punishment.
Okay,
do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about indoctrination of the society, why this view of yours comes from the Quran? It comes from. You're a Muslim, right?
I'm a Muslim.
Okay, so it comes from.
And
the
you
Quran.
are atheist?
I'm atheist. Yeah, atheist kind of. I'm not all knowing.
Atheist?
I'm not all knowing.
No, it's not about all knowing. Of course, you're not all knowing.
I don't know it. I don't know anything. You know.
Okay, but do you believe in God?
I don't believe there is one, but I am open to any evidence.
So you're agnostic?
Yes.
Kind of. Not a hard atheist. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, not a hard atheist. I'm a scientist. Okay, I'm a mathematician. I believe in. I do believe in evidence, and your logic is you would like to see.
So where do you
being
think?
gay-
Where do you think this morals that we get?
All right.
Who decides?
Who decides the morals?
Yeah. What standards would you use to dictate the morals in a society?
All right. So you'd start with. Is it hurting anyone? Is
That's
it?
exactly my point.
Is the consent?
That's the reason I
is
have
the
incest.
is the
And you both
oh, no.
disagree with it.
All right. Is the consent? Is the consent there?
hurting somebody else.
No, you're not. How are you hurting someone
Well,
else?
then that's
When
your
you commit-
business. What you do behind your closed doors, as long as it's to consent.
Oh, it has to be behind closed doors as well?
Actually,
You might be more Muslim than you
no,
realize.
no. Equating being gay and incest. That's a
But
joke.
you know, in Islam, that is one of the rules. That if you do behind the closed doors, no one can prosecute you. But if you do it in open, then those gay people get prosecuted.
Okay, all right.
Provided you have 4 witnesses.
Okay, all right. But equating incest and being gay is a bit of a jump.
Second,
Equating being incest and being
Why is it a bit of a jump?
gay?
Why?
It's a little bit of a jump.
Why?
They're quite different.
why is
okay?
it? Why is it different?
Okay, mating with your brother and sister, your relatives.
Yeah. Why is it different? Other than your first view of
biologically
it,
wrong. It's
why is it biologically wrong?
biologically wrong because when you do it, you
Yeah.
get disabled children.
But you don't want children. That's what I told you already.
Yes. No.
For pleasure.
No. Okay. All
You're
right.
doing it for pleasure.
Yeah, but in your religion,
I'm not talking about my religion. I'm
no.
talking about your view.
In all religion, sex isn't for pleasure. Sex is for procreation. So
Oh, wait.
everyone's about
Don't
just that.
confuse your religion of Christianity from your
My
background.
religion isn't Christianity.
I said from your background.
My background is not Christianity. I was not indoctrinated for anything. I came up with my own evidence.
So you don't have any
my own
Christians in
view.
your family?
No.
None at all.
Maybe grandparents, maybe something else, but not
They are your
not
family.
not my immediate family.
They are your family. Your
Not my
grandparents.
immediate family.
What kind of scientist are you?
You made a claim about the religion.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so all right, so it takes.
I want to know why is it different? If there is no intent to procreate, why is it different?
because if you're creating.
Let's take a son.
I'm saying.
Let's take a father and son.
Okay.
A father and
If they
son.
wanna do
Incest. Yes.
Yeah.
What then? Is there a problem with that?
Okay.
How is that different from being gay?
If it means.
How is that different from being gay?
If it means that being gay
No,
they can do
Why?
that.
Why have I got it wrong?
Because you're trying to be like actually a father and a son.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're not?
You're in another world. You're in a world of
I'm not
mental-
justifying it.
No, you're not.
You don't realize.
So when
it.
you talk about,
I'm asking you,
when you talk about
if you
two
think
people-
being gay is
wait.
okay, why is this not okay? Based on the same principle.
Because you're mixing up two things that are totally different.
I didn't say they were same. I said the principle remains the same. Okay, the gay people, do they do it for procreating or for pleasure?
They would do. If
They do it out of
they're
love.
doing it for pleasure.
Out of
They're doing
love.
it for pleasure.
No, they do it out of love.
Out of love?
Pleasure, out of love.
I think it's rather lust than love.
Why?
You tell me.
Why?
Why? Because
can't it be out of love?
love. What? How do you define love? Love is basically not just loving for feeling a person. Because you see, I can love you as a human being.
Exactly.
Okay. But when it comes to having sex, there is lust involved, not just love.
Okay, fine. So,
Okay. So the same applies to a father and a son as well. They're doing it. They're both adults. There is no chance of
No, what I said,
procreation
you're
of
way
getting
off the mark.
getting disabled children. So why is it wrong?
Okay. If it means that. If it means me agreeing to that gay people can have their rights not being prosecuted, then I would say yes.
I'm asking you, is it not the same principle? In the case of
You can't
agreeing with,
you can't use the same principles.
Why not?
Because they are different things.
what is different? What is different
They are
between
both-
being
they are both
a gay
sex.
person who is loving his own son and having sex with him because the son agrees and loves him back? Then a person who's not related. Hold on.
What about a straight situation? like
Hold
that?
on.
It's an abnormal situation.
Hold on.
That's got-
Let me
that's got
finish
nothing
one
to do with
point.
being gay.
Let me finish one point and then come to you. And a person who is gay, who is not related to each other, yes? So this is for lust and this is also for lust. What's the difference? Why is it not the same principle?
Why? I'm not
when you-
using. I'm not using the same principles
Because when you lust your own sibling,
It's
that's
wrong,
not the
isn't
same
it?
as being gay.
It's wrong, isn't it?
I have to say it is wrong.
You know what? You know what?
Because-
Using your words, I'm not harming anyone. As long as they're doing it on their private business, in their own homes, none of my business. There you go.
It is none of your business.
There you go. That's what I'm telling you.
But
All along I've been
Have
telling you
this
this.
conversation
That people who think that committing incest is wrong, they shouldn't be saying it's wrong if they agree with being gay is okay.
Okay, but do you
On the
agree
same
with
principle.
gay? Do you agree with being
I
gay?
don't
is
based
okay?
on my religion.
But if they do it behind closed doors,
Then it's their business. I won't judge them. I won't judge them, but God will.
okay. So your point is that so you just want to make them feel bad about it.
No, I don't want them to feel better. It's their life.
Okay, so then
So
what's
saying,
your
so
what's
saying
your point?
whatever I say, I don't think it should be relevant to them. What I'm saying is that.
I've got to go.
All right, Shaun, it was a pleasure speaking
Listen,
to you.
What's your name? Luke. Luke, pleased to meet you. I'm Shaun.